Athletes Unlimited Softball, 60 of the world's best, all trying to move up the leaderboard. That leaderboard determined by our innovative scoring system.
Jesse Warren playing like an MVP. Oh my goodness! Takes the play!
Odyssey Alexander.
The laser double play!
Each lane down the punt, not going to get her.
The best players in the world. Hey fans, welcome to the Week 2 Softball Draft. I'm Savannah Collins, and I could not be more excited to introduce my co-host this season, Kat Osterman, our inaugural champion, Olympian, and softball legend, who is going to be bringing us all kinds of insight. Kat, I'm so excited you're here for us, and you're going to be here the rest of the draft throughout the season. Thanks for joining.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Unfortunate that I couldn't be here for week 1 with you, but always love continuing to follow Athletes Unlimited after obviously I retired in season 2, but so excited to be able to bring some insight into what the draft looks like. Such a fun process. And, you and I mentioned it off screen, but 4 rookie captains. So it'll be exciting to see how they approach this draft this week.
Yes, let's talk about them. All 4 captains sitting in that chair for the very first time. Leading the team in gold this week is the rookie pitcher, Lexi Kilfoyle, another pitcher, a veteran who has been kind of the assistant, I would say, pitching coach for so many other captains. And this week she's going to get to do it herself in orange, Taylor McQuillan. And then we have 2 Gators. Amanda Lorenz is going to be in blue this week, and Skylar Wallace, another rookie, leading the purple team. Skylar is going to make the first pick. If you watched our drafts, you know how it goes. You're going to start with purple, work her all the way down to the end, double picks, and snake it on back. So Skylar, if you're ready, we're going to let you lead us off with the first pick of the Week 2 draft.
So I just say to the camera.
Yeah.
Okay. Pitcher, Megan Ferramo.
All right, Skylar Wallace makes her first pick. She's figuring out how to do this thing, and Megan Ferramo is immediately off the board. Amanda, if you're ready, go ahead and take us through this first round.
Pitcher, Catherine Sandercock.
Another pitcher goes next. Taylor McQuillan. She's got her plan in place. Let us know.
Pitcher, Alyssa Denham.
Denham, that duo is back together again. We're going to be talking about that when we get through this first round. And who's going to round out our last pick is Lexi Kilfoyle. She's starting to look through these picks. I don't think any surprise right now that the first 3 picks are pitchers at all, Kat.
No, I mean, if you're not a pitcher yourself, you have to be able to grab one of the hot arms. I am shocked, though, that Alyssa Denham didn't go in one of the first 2 picks, as she has just historically thrown. But I know Taylor McQuillan and her match up well, so I know she probably was eagerly awaiting to see if she'd still be on the board.
And Lexi's ready to round out this round. Lexi,
Pitcher, Rachel Garcia.
Rachel Garcia. 4 pitchers in the first round. Kat, I'm with you. Who in the world was going to let Alyssa Denham and Taylor McQuillan combine those brains? Again, I get to watch the 2 of them work together in the dugout this past week, and they were brilliant.
Well, Taylor McQuillan has been historically kind of that pitcher that gets hot the second half of the season, has really helped people to be in the winner's seat and be medalists because of her performances. And so really cool to see her start out so hot with Alyssa Denham, but they have a great relationship, and they are actually really 2 very vastly different pitchers. So they complement each other well. But yeah, they put together obviously a great plan last week with their 2 arms, but also with Sarah Willis and Valerie Cagle too. So it'll be interesting to see how many pieces of that team does Taylor McQuillan try to keep together, because it was successful.
Definitely. Lexi Kilfoyle is ready to start off the second round. Lexi, let us know who your next pick is.
Okay. Catcher, Taylor Edwards.
Taylor Edwards started to put together who's leading that team from behind the plate, calling these games. She's going to be there to support Rachel Garcia and Lexi Kilfoyle. Trending throughout previous seasons, Taylor Edwards has been paired with Rachel Garcia so many times. Taylor's ready for her next pick too.
Catcher, Charlize Palacios.
Catcher Charlize Palacios. Okay, starting to see a trend here. Pitchers first, batteries next.
They're going a little opposite. Obviously, when I was a captain, I went catcher first most of the time, making
Right.
sure I got that partner back behind the plate.
Outfielder Bubba Nichols.
Bubba Nichols going to be playing in blue. She, to me, has not really lost any of that hot bat that she had at AUX that helped her become the champion. I know we're only a couple games into the season, but she was 5 for 10. We saw how she was just consistently consistent all throughout Wichita, and not much has changed in those first couple games for Bubba Nichols. No surprise there that she's going to Team Lorenz and is here in an early round.
Well, and if you're Amanda Lorenz, you want to find the power bats that complement yours. And, she got her pitcher in Sandercock. And so now it's putting together the hot hitting pieces and being able to fill in your defensive holes as you go, but getting the offense that you need.
Skylar, we're going to have you say that pick one more time. Let us know who your next pick is.
Let's go. Wait, did you put the first pick? Okay. Pitcher, Sarah Willis.
Sarah Willis is off the board. Skylar's got double picks, so we're going to let her get this next one in too.
Catcher, Seychelle Palacios.
Palacios sisters both in high demand here as we're only 2 rounds in to the draft. Fans, I can see you all starting to pop into the chat. Let us know if you have questions, things that you want to talk about, players that you're curious about, what you think about their performances, or even these captains too. Starting to read through some of these comments. Yeah, I think Kristen Demos, I like this point of Kilfoyle and Rachel Garcia. Kat, I'm going to let you be the expert on that. How do you think those two complement each other and contrast? I hear the pitchers talk so often, and you did too. I need somebody who gives hitters a different look. What is that look that they get in a Kilfoyle-Rachel kind of pairing like that?
Well, Kilfoyle is primarily down. A great drop ball, tremendous movement on that pitch, where Rachel Garcia is going to be a little bit more lateral and up. And so she can pair herself with Rachel, but at the same time, Kilfoyle's already proven she can go complete games here in Athletes Unlimited as a rookie. And so now it gives her the ability to have 2 arms that can go a full 7 and be successful. So she can pair them both up, and there's enough pitchers in the draft still that will complement them too with speed changes. But Kilfoyle and Garcia, that's one's hard down, one's hard up, and it'll give hitters fits. So good job by the rookie to get an arm that's going to be a very good contrast to her.
Corner, Tori Vidalis.
Tori Vidalis, drafted by Amanda Lorenz here as we're moving through this 3rd round. Kat, I'm with you. Not only myself, I think everybody was so impressed by Lexi Kilfoyle in this first week, seeing her come out on Friday night and just look so cool, so collected. Talking to her after the game, she had said, the first inning's usually my roughest one, and then after that, I'm fine. But it was funny, after giving that 1 run in the first inning of her first outing, that was it for the next 14 innings that she pitched, which was just so incredible for a rookie to be able to just be so confident and composed in her first outing.
Well, and she has experience. So
Outfielder, Haley McClenny.
Haley McClenny's off the board. Kat, what were you going to say? Just kind of looking at her performances in week 1.
Well, Kilfoyle's experience, she played in the Big 12, played against Oklahoma for the last 2 or 3 years with Oklahoma State. So it's not like she hasn't faced the best offenses in the country in her time at college. And so you're always going to have the nerves, but for her to come in and settle in, the question is going to be, and the key for all pitchers, especially rookies when they get into Athletes Unlimited, is the fact that you face the same hitters over and over for 5 weeks straight. And you have to figure out how in weeks 3, 4, and 5, you make yourself look a little bit different than weeks 1 and 2, because hitters start to adjust. They get to see your game plan. They can go back and, relook at bats against you and what you did to them. And so you have to be a little bit more dynamic as season goes on.
Definitely.
Pitcher, Peyton Gottschall.
Another one of our rookie pitchers who we saw the first time at AUX, Peyton Gottschall. She'll start to round out kind of this staff. Lexi's waiting no time to put together who the batteries are and putting together a staff. She's going to make the double pick. You can see her talking to her facilitator. So the facilitators this week, I did not miss your question, Lori. So sitting beside Lexi Kilfoyle with the gold team this week is Caroline Hardy. Courtney Ogle is helping out Taylor McQuillan this week. Emily Carasoni, you can see her right there beside Amanda Lorenz with the blue squad. And then Bailey Lang is helping out the purple squad this week. Skylar Wallace making her first ever picks as a captain and being a rookie in this season. Kat, how did you? I'm going to let Lexi make this pick, and then I'm going to ask you about your experience with facilitators next. Go ahead, Lexi.
Middle infielder, Sydney Romero.
Sid Romero off the board, who just was also had that experience as a captain for the first time. How did you utilize your facilitators? From what I've seen, a lot of times they can help manage the lineup can be a big part of them. Obviously, they are a step away and see things that maybe the captains don't see, just someone who's a little bit removed from all the action of the game.
Yeah, well, having coached, I like to make my own lineup, but I did get their input usually after the first game. Like, okay, what worked, what didn't? Do you see something different? But when I was pitching, I let them completely run the show because I didn't want to have to think about trying to coach too. So that's when I fully let them have the reins. But I did like to get their input because a lot of times they saw or heard other conversations going on with athletes when they were a facilitator on a different team. So you get their perspective on what a team can look like versus the individual performance. And then they always in game have great insight as well. And so they provide a lot of good knowledge, but I think sometimes with the draft, you have to look at and know what you know about each individual athlete because so many veterans are in the league and being able to trust your gut with those.
Trust your gut. Taylor, let us know who your next pick is.
Middle infielder, Kelsey Harshman.
Kelsey Harshman going to the orange squad. I actually love this comment and this pickup. Who said it? Kristen. I was wondering if she would pick her previous captain, Lexi Kilfoyle, going with Sydney Romero. I think that doesn't come as a surprise to me, kind of getting to watch Sydney manage her team. There was a word that kind of kept coming up that Sydney, helps her team settle. She keeps it simple, and maybe just having that familiar presence. I have to keep imagine as not only a rookie pitcher who's also leading her team. I would just want familiarity going into my first draft. It looks like Amanda's ready for her next pick. Who you got, Amanda?
Middle infielder, Hannah Flippin.
Hannah Flippin. We're starting to see some of those middles established for these teams. I think that's one of the positions that tends to go early no matter what, is your shortstops, your second basemen. Was when you knew the type of defense you had behind you, does that change how your teams felt week to week? What did you like in those two middle infielder positions?
I think you always want one of them to be strong with range. And Hannah Flippin and Issa Ortez at the time, probably two best shortstops we had. And then obviously Aubrey Leach was in there and she had great range. And so you just want a middle infield that one can work well together, but two, can cover basically the whole middle infield as much as possible. And then I think from there, we've only seen one center fielder go, but McQuillan made sure that she had center field locked down. So up the middle to me is always the most important part. So you go catcher, middle infielders, and then outfield, but you want those middle infielders to be able to make the plays because defense in the end is going to be able to save you.
Yeah, Skylar Wallace is the only middle infielder who's leading a team this week. So she's kind of got that perspective of who she wants to help her do that. It looks like she's ready for her next pick. We'll see if Skylar's ready to lock in her fourth pick of the draft.
Middle infielder, Sydney McKinney.
Okay, so if you were wondering who that duo was going to be a lot of the time on this purple squad, it's going to be Skylar Wallace and Sid McKinney in the middle infielder positions. What a pair. Jeez. I'm so excited to see those two play beside each other.
Yeah, two youngsters, a lot of energy, both, dynamic offensively as well. But it'll be fun to see them play. And, I think that's the plus about Athletes Unlimited is you get to see some of these stars from different colleges that as a fan, you sit and watch and then never imagine that they're going to be on a team together. And then here you go. You get to see them pick to play with each other. And that'll be an actual really quick middle infielder or middle infield combo.
Totally. I know I'm biased as a Gator, but for me, it was so cool to see Skylar and Amanda back to back in the lineup. But now, them being on opposite teams to see what they put together. Will the teams be similar? Will they be different? We're going to find out as Skylar makes her next pick to start off this round. Oh, maybe not. Oh, she's ready.
Corner infielder, Aaron Koffel.
And Koffel going to the purple squad. But I like especially what you said, Kat, about Sid and Skylar. For me, especially just kind of seeing these first couple games from Skylar, she just playing on the pro level. Sid being one of those who was a rookie last season that just got hot and was one of the toughest outs, and that's what I saw in both of their at-bats. We talked about their defense, but their offense is they have long at-bats, and they are scrappy at the plate. So I'm excited to see where they land in the lineup and the trouble they could give pitchers this week, both being back-to-back together. It looks like Amanda's ready for her next pick. Go ahead, Amanda.
Middle infielder, Sierra Romero.
Sierra Romero going to the blue squad. I know her and Amanda are really close friends off the field too. Does that factor in? I think I see it sometimes and other times not, but the overarching theme week to week, all the way back to season 1 when I would talk to captains is I need a good chemistry. I need a good juju. And I think that's hard to put into like statistics or way, but you see it on the field. It's just an intangible of teams.
Oh, it's 100% intangible. I will tell you, I think the 2 seasons when I was captain, majority of the time we had great chemistry, and there was always like 1 week where it was a little off, and that happened to be the 1 week we weren't successful or as successful the handful of times I was captain. So it is huge, and sometimes you think it's going to be there, and then obviously you get a combination of people that it just doesn't always click. And sometimes being with your best friend is great. Other times there can be too many cooks in the kitchen trying to talk, and knowing your friends, you think it's just going to work out. But I think with the veterans right now that Amanda Lorenz is drafting, they're going to all have a lot of trust in each other because she has some really veteran hitters, in this lineup so far. And that you can tell that's the route she's going is veteran experience, and knowing that too, if she gets in a position where leadership she needs some help, she has plenty of it.
Totally. I'd say the same thing for Taylor McQuillan with seeing her lock in some veteran picks. We'll find out who her next one is for the 5th round.
Corner infielder, Jesse Warren.
Jesse Warren. Okay, someone in the chat just called that out. Who said it? She says, Jesse Warren has got to be going this round. I totally agree of what you're going to get from her on the hot corner. Just who she is in the dugout, too, the presence that she brings to a team, the continuously back-to-back reigning defensive MVP. To me, that's a no-brainer. A no-brainer when you're trying to think about who's going to be playing third in a league where so many hitters, can turn on the ball and really put some things into play. But Jesse makes plays that probably should have been hits, and they somehow become outs.
Oh yeah, 100%. Jesse Warren is, if not one of the best third basemen in the world right now. And I think the world got to see that at the World Championships too, with her playing with Team USA. But if you have to have somebody at the hot corner that can be able to field the bunt, but at the same time take away the base hits in the hole. And we've obviously seen that with Jesse Warren's, I guess we could just name it after her, the Defensive Player of the Year award, because she's just locks it up almost every single year.
Definitely. Okay, Lexi, let us know who your next pick is.
Outfielder, Aaliyah Andrews.
Leah Andrews playing in gold this week with Team Kilfoyle. Lexi's going to make back-to-back picks here in this round. Fans, I know we're just a couple picks in, but I want to know who your favorite teams are as they're starting to shape up in this draft. Now, sometimes it's hard to see just on paper, but if there's ones you like in particular, want to talk about, let us know in the chat. I'm reading and paying attention, but Lexi, go ahead and make this next pick as we start off the 6th round.
Middle infielder, Sis Bates.
Sis Bates going to the gold squad. Okay, I think something to note this week is Sis Bates was one of our latest picks in week 1. And now here she is halfway through the draft in week 2. And I know we sometimes talk about it internally where you go in the draft, but how much does that just not even matter? You could go first overall 1 week and then late the next, and it really doesn't impact where you play, how often you play, or who you are as a player. I know sometimes maybe that can be a little much to handle, but just seeing how these athletes could go at any time, depending on what captains need.
Well, I think if you're a veteran, you understand that it doesn't really matter. Sometimes if you're a rookie, confidence-wise, it can start to rattle you. But I think one of the prime examples historically is Kelsey Stewart-Hunter. She goes anywhere from in the 3, 4, 5, and sometimes drops down to other rounds. But yet every week you find a moment where she's on the field, able to perform, able to come through for a team. And so, for Sis Bates, wherever she was drafted last week, she's never going to let that get to her. And if you watch, you see Sis is always out there with a smile and ready to go. So she doesn't care where she's drafted. But I think you just have to look at it as what captains prioritize and not that they're prioritizing anything personal. They want to
Right.
make sure they get certain aspects of the game on their roster first. And sometimes athletes just don't fall into that. And so it's just part of it.
Totally.
Catcher, Gwen Speckis.
Gwen heading with Taylor McQuillan. You know, kind of thinking about that, where draft picks go on the back end of things, watching the draft, and maybe the fans don't know this, is that you have positional requirements you have to hit. You know, you can't draft 10 pitchers just to your team. You're required within our draft system to take a certain number of middle infielders, certain number of corners, outfielders. So, you know, sometimes these captains can use that to their advantage to not pick a corner infielder because they know that they're automatically going to get that player. So that's something I just want fans to know. If you're like, why isn't my favorite player gone yet? It might be that that captain knows that they're going to get them for sure, so they're trying to move some other pieces together. We'll see who this next piece is that Amanda Lorenz is adding to her team.
Pitcher Alicia Ocasio.
Alicia Ocasio going to play in the blue this week. Okay, Kat, shaping up so far. I know we're only 6 picks in. Any trends that you see from these teams?
Well, you can tell, as I mentioned earlier, Amanda Lorenz is prioritizing hitting and power hitting at that. When you look at Bubba
Yeah.
Nichols, Tori Vidalis, Hannah Flippen, Romero, herself, obviously. Skylar Wallace obviously wanted to make sure she got her pitchers and catchers taken care of right off the bat, and now she's looking at her infield. So I feel like she might be going positionally more than strategically. And Taylor McQuillan is really just working down the line on who works well together. Obviously, Charlize Palacios, hot right now as a rookie, great catcher. But Gwen Speckis has also historically been the catcher that gets a lot of pitchers continuing to stay in that top 4. And she's worked well with Alyssa Denham in the past. So, you know, maybe McQuillan will work with Palacios, Denham with Speckis. There's a lot that's unfolding there in McQuillan's roster.
Pitcher, Georgina Korick.
George going to the purple squad this week. I think looking at Team McQuillan in particular, you know, especially just of her expertise and how she just has this really cerebral and detailed view of how she builds teams. She said, I'm just going straight up the middle first.
Corner infielder, Kelsey Stewart Hunter.
Stewie, like you said, Kat, you talked about her. Now she's off the board. Kind of looking at performances this past week of who really did well and how these captains got to the top. So Alyssa Denham, I know she's already came off the board, and we kind of mentioned her prowess as a pitcher, but what a fabulous job she did as a captain, going 3-0. That propelled all 3 of these 4 athletes to the top of the leaderboard because of the win points that they were able to accumulate. And that's how McQuillan, Lorenz, and Wallace all became captains. Amanda's ready for her next pick. We'll let her lock that in.
Catcher Jordan Roberts.
Joe Rowe playing on the blue squad this week. But that's the key to success, is the win points. And I think, you know, as a captain, just winning innings, winning games can be so hard sometimes to manage, of just what does it take to pick up points along the way. But if you want to be at the top, you have to win games. And I think the trend that I've put in my notes to look at come week 5 is who is going to be a medalist and were they on Alyssa Denham's team in week 1.
Pitcher, Peyton St. George.
PSG playing in orange this week. But kind of after coming off of this first week, as you watched, you know, some of these teams and you're looking at the stats, like what stood out to you about Team Denham? I think pitching is obvious, you know, just how well they did of managing a different type staff, but just as a whole, I know Lexi's ready for this next pick, so we'll let her lock in her first one so she has the full time to think about her second.
Corner, Delaney Wiz.
Delaney Wiz. Okay, Kat, take it away.
Well, I know Denham was going to prioritize a pitching staff that could be able to carry the load and be successful for all 3 games. And she did that, and she was able to manage them really well. And I think that's a huge key too, is managing a staff, especially when you have some rookies. Even if they played AUX, they're still kind of in a rookie season. And she was able to do that even with Willis and Cagle and continue to use the experience of her and McQuillan. And then obviously you get a veteran catcher and you're able to put some hitters together. So it's really about managing your staff to be able to win the defensive part of the innings and then just do enough on the offensive side, depending on who you put together to be in your lineup.
Did she give a thumbs up? Okay. Outfielder, Claire Davidson.
Claire Davidson going to the gold squad. Okay, I love that Lexi mentioned or picked Claire Davidson because it teased me up exactly as we're kind of thinking about the leaderboard, is that Claire Davidson was the only person aside from Lexi not on Team Denim to be in those top spots in the top 12. So that really stood out to me. We'll kind of dig into her stats after Taylor makes her next pick.
Corner infielder, Nadia Taylor.
Nadia Taylor playing on the Orange squad. So we've talked a lot about rookie pitchers, but when it comes to a rookie hitter, Claire Davidson racked up 90 stat points. So if you go to auprosports.com, go to the leaderboard, look at how athletes moved to the top. Win points was huge, but Claire Davidson was the second highest stat point earner in week 1.
Pitcher Mariah Mason.
Mariah Masson going to Team Lorenz. So yeah, I think for me, just as we're starting to see these picks come in, if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they're almost all pitchers when it comes to the highest stat point earners outside of Claire Davidson. And then you have Andrews, Sid Romero, Amanda Lorenz, and Wallace, who all racked up 70 points, predominantly from their performances at the plate this past week.
Well, when you talk about stat points, it's easy for pitchers, especially if you throw complete games or more than just 1 or 2 innings, to be able to lead in that category, since you're getting some on every single hitter, or you should almost be getting some on every single hitter as long as you're getting outs and not giving up runs. And so we talked about the 3 pitchers that are at the top. The runs given up were very minimal. Lexi Kilfoyle only gave up 1, McQuillan only gave up 1, Alyssa Denham only gave up 1. So they were able to put themselves in a really good position stat point wise. And I think it takes the hitters sometimes a little bit longer to adjust to all the new pitchers they're seeing. And so I would think weeks 2, 3, 4, we'll start to see some hitters break into that upper echelon of the stat point category.
Yeah.
Catcher, Mia Davidson.
Mia Davidson going to the purple squad. See who Skylar's next double pick is.
Middle infielder, Allie Skaggs.
And Allie Skaggs. All right, let's take a look at who's left on the draft board as we head into this 9th round. A lot of outfielders. Does that surprise you? I think it does me right now, just thinking about how important that position has been, and then knowing that there's some really great hitters in that group too.
Well, it surprises me, yeah, more so from the offensive side. Megan Wiggins, a veteran hitter, limited opportunities last week, but got the big home run. Morgan Zirkle, who has speed and can do a lot from the left side. Victoria Hayward, another veteran that, can do so much. So just looking at the veterans on the outfielders that are still on there, but then the offensive prowess, I mean, Mackenzie Clark, a rookie, but she obviously made a statement at AUX. And so I think sometimes you have to look historically when you pick 2 and not just what happened in week 1. Week 2 and 3, you may want to look back to weeks 1 and 2. Or I should say weeks 3 and 4, excuse me. You're going to look back on what's happening now, but so many veterans, in my opinion, that are still on the board, a little shocking, especially in that outfield position.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm feeling the same way as I kind of look at who's on the board. Yeah, looking in our chat comments, Ladarius, I agree. A run on outfielders is coming soon. It could be this round as Amanda Lorenz is getting ready to make her pick. We're starting to see some of those come in as we look at the draft board. The last pick was Skylar Wallace getting to make her double picks as we move into these next rounds.
Outfielder, Morgan Zirkle.
And there she is, the speed, Morgan Zirkle. Okay, looking at the trends on this purple squad, this group is fast.
But yeah, Wallace herself has some speed. You've got Sydney McKinney in there, Morgan Zirkle now as well.
Middle infielder, Anissa Ortez.
Anissa Ortez, one of those experienced middle infielders going to the blue squad this week. This is usually where we start to see things slow down a little bit with these captains, extending that time, those 2 minutes that they get to make their picks, because maybe things aren't going to plan, but Taylor McQuillan is ready with her 9th pick.
Middle infielder, Aubrey Leach.
Aubrey Leach. Okay, I'm going to say Aubrey Leach going in the 9th round surprises me because if I was a pitcher, that is the last person I want to face because she can hit for power, she can hit for contact, she can lay down a bunt, and she can slap. To me, she is just a nightmare of a person to face, especially at the top of the order. Oh my gosh.
Well, season 1, if you recall, she was usually in my top 4 or 5 picks. Gwen was obviously 1, but I selected Leach quite a bit. And towards the end, someone asked, was like, why? And it was like, 1, I had faced her with the national team, and I think it took 20 pitches to retire her. And I don't even know that I did. I think she ended up getting a hit. And then 2, you talk to her, and she's kind of I say old soul. It's not really old soul, but she just thinks about the game in a way, a very mature and like a veteran of my era almost. And so it was really cool to talk the game with her, but she sees the game in such a different way than a lot of the younger athletes. And it was really cool to watch and be part of. But she's such a hard out because she does read the defense well. She can play small ball. She can hit when she needs to. And to be honest, defensively, she's so good. You can put her at short if you have to. Second base is really where she thrives. She can also play outfield. So she's well-rounded, but just high softball IQ. And I think that part is hard to replicate.
Let's see what they say. Pitcher, Valerie Cagle.
Clemson star Val Cagle teaming up on this rookie staff with Lexi Kilfoyle, who's leading her squad. So we're starting to see her finish out her picks for pitchers. She's hitting those requirements early with Team Kilfoyle. We're going to loop back, but it looks like she's going to take some time to lock in this next pick. But I totally agree, Kat. Just one thing about Aubrey that you can see in the stats that maybe you don't see unless you get to be in the dugouts, which is my favorite place to be, is how she leads. So often when I've seen her with a pitcher captain, she'll kind of take over managing the infield and managing hitters. Which is this really neat kind of intangible that Aubrey brings to a squad is she'll help you put alignment together if you want. That coaching hat never really comes off for her. So getting to have her on your team has all these, huge ways that she's able to contribute that has nothing to do with what she does at the plate or what she does as a fielder, but it's just who she is as a person and a player. I think that's a high value pick going here in the 9th round. And I can't tell if Lexi's ready for her next pick. We're going to look at some of these what you guys are saying in the comments. Oh, Lexi is ready.
Outfielder, Kayla Kowalik.
Love it.
Kayla Kowalik going to the orange squad. Kristen, I see your comment. How are all these pitchers on gold going to get enough innings? I don't know. It depends on if they can cruise or if they have to do a little pitch by committee effort. It just depends on how things are going throughout the week.
Well, I think Lexi did a good job with her and Garcia. She's obviously going to bet on herself, but Garcia being a veteran in Athletes Unlimited, but then she doesn't have to give Gottschall and Cagle a ton of innings as far as offense or defensive side goes. You would have to imagine she's probably going to use Cagle for her stick as well.
Definitely.
Outfielder, Erica Piancastelli.
Stelly going to the orange squad. I think that's a great point, and it's neat the way Alyssa Denham did it. And I think if I was a captain and watched how she managed some of her younger pitchers, I would be replicating that. We'll kind of dig into how she does it after Amanda makes this pick.
Outfielder, Victoria Hayward.
Vic, I know a couple of you all were calling for her in the comments. There she goes off the board, pick 10 for Amanda Lorenz. But yes, how Alyssa Denham kind of managed that staff, and I know Taylor McQuillan is someone I could probably expect to see it too, is they always come in with a plan. There's really no guessing for those two of, okay, how many innings are you going to throw today? Will you throw today at all? They really help their pitching staff come equipped with, okay, I need 1, 2 really solid innings for you. And watching from the outside looking in, it seems like for younger pitchers that helps to go, okay, this is the plan for today. This is what I need to focus on versus I need you to go an extended amount of time, or we'll just see how you do until, things kind of start to get tough. That's something that Alyssa Denham did so well in week 1, and she's continuously done it well throughout her previous seasons too. It's a big part of why her teams always win.
Well, if you put the staff together correctly, you're able to do that. You're able to have a plan and say who can be relieved to complement each other. Doesn't mean you won't occasionally get into a emergency moment that you need somebody to go get warm really fast and it wasn't the plan. But if you can put your staff together, then you can have set plans that feed off of each other.
Pitcher, Kayla Beaver.
Skylar Wallace takes Kayla Beaver to round out this 10th round, and she's going to double pick to start off the 11th. We'll see if Skylar's ready to make this next pick or if she's going to use some of that time. She's going to use some of it to think and consult with her facilitator this week. Usually I see some comments about the A beside Rachel Garcia's name. I can get that confirmed, but usually sometimes it has to do with either if they had other commitments and how many games that they're available. But I'll find that out about Rachel and be sure to tweet it out this week and share it, whether that's the games that she's available or whether it's like injury related. But I'm not sure, so I'm going to double check on that and see if I can get an answer while we're on this draft. But if not, I'll be sure to tweet it.
Oh, I'm looking right now, Savannah. Skylar Wallace doesn't have any outfielders on her roster. So she has to be looking in what outfielders are left that she wants to prioritize. Because right now, center field, that would be a pick that I would make right off the bat, is who can patrol center field. And so she's going to be left looking at these 7 outfielders and figuring out how she's going to piece together a strong outfield.
And thinking about AUX, we saw Mackenzie Clark play a ton of center field. She was on the corner and left field a lot this past week. Megan Wiggins is somebody that I would totally trust to manage that part of my outfield if that was looking for, some veteran leadership to complement me, maybe as a rookie and playing, shortstop like Skylar. We'll see kind of the direction that she goes. She's taken some time to make these next picks.
Outfielder, Jalen Alchin.
Jadalyn Alchin going. She's somebody that I've been really excited to see more of. She had a little bit of limited opportunities at AUX, and we'll see what her opportunities look like with Team Wallace this week. Team Lorenz is ready to lock in another player on their roster.
Outfielder, Megan Wiggins.
There's Megan Wiggins. One thing I want to note about Wiggins this past week is that home run was only her second at bat of the season. That is so hard to do, of somebody who has just kind of waited and waited for their opportunity, and the minute that she gets it, she jumps on it. I think that is something that just only comes with the insane amount of softball knowledge that Megan Wiggins has. She has forgotten more softball than I know. I know that's for sure.
Well, one thing to look at, Savannah, Amanda Loren's roster does not have a single rookie on it yet. Everyone is a veteran.
Good call out
of Athletes Unlimited, and most of them not even just in their second year. So most of them very, very experienced veterans. And so Loren's going with what she knows historically, in my opinion, for a lot of these players.
Wow, that is a huge call out about this blue squad this week. It's neat kind of looking through that group. So many of them have known each other for so long, like not just in pro softball, not even just in college softball, but back to like high school and travel ball days. That is going to be really neat to see some of those players be all on one team with Team Lorenz this week. Taylor McQuillan's ready for her next pick.
Outfielder, Mackenzie Clark.
Mackenzie Clark going to the orange squad. See a lot of you all cheering for Megan Wiggins now that she's coming off the board. Crazy 90, Loren's team is stacked with hitting. They can rake. Totally agree. Team Wallace, Faith, I see the comment. Maybe with these next couple picks, she needs to look for some veteran leadership that might help her out this week. Marla Salt, 2. No rookies on blue. And yes, agreed, Kristen. It looks like Sis will probably be an infielder this week. I think that was just what Team Svekis had, that she just had a lot of middle infielders and played outfield. But I would be pretty certain that Sis is going to be back into the infield. Another comment from Kristen. Seems to me that the best way to go would be have some vets and some rookies. How do you balance that? Do you think about it, or are you just going for what fits that week?
Well, I think this early in season, you go for what fits and what you know. And so Amanda Lorenz very much going with what she knows. Now, granted, Skylar Wallace going with some athletes that she probably knows. They're her age. They're close. There's a lot more rookies on there. Talking about the veteran experience she probably needs to find in the outfield right now. The most veteran athlete she has on her roster is Kelsey Stewart-Hunter. And then after that, you have Zirkle, and then Faremo, who's in Faremo McKinney in year 2. So she does need a little bit of veteran experience probably on that roster, but you find the balance, but you don't necessarily always try to have to include rookies unless you don't get a pick that you really want with what's left on the board.
Outfielder Kaylee Harding.
Kaylee Harding joining Lexi Kilfoyle this week. We saw her make her debut at AUX. Man, did her bat get hot as the season went on. Seeing the way that kind of following her trend through AUX was just good at bat, sometimes hitting right to the person, but it was a good barrel up. And then holy smokes, going into Series 3, the way that she was able to jump on the ball. I think that's somebody that Amanda Lorenz tends to do this, makes picks to click. And if maybe I was going to have a pick to click this week, I think mine would be Kaylee Harding. Is there someone that comes to mind for you?
Well, I like the way Claire Davidson swung it in week 1. So if I were going to take a gamble on a rookie, I think I would have gone with Davidson early on. So it's interesting to see, but it also depends on, as a captain, what your priority is. And like Amanda Lorenz is an outfielder, so maybe another outfielder isn't her priority.
Totally.
Corner Bailey Klingler.
Bailey Klingler joining Lexi Kilfoyle. Just a couple picks left for these captains. We'll see who's still on the board. And we can look at some of the requirements that these teams have left. So 2 pitchers on the board, couple outfielders, a pair of catchers, pair of corner infielders, and middle infielders too. Taylor McQuillan's ready.
Pitcher Odyssey Alexander.
Odyssey Alexander going to Team McQuillan, the reigning champ from last year. She led a team in week 1. They struggled a little bit just in being able to pick up inning wins, game wins too. Amanda Lorenz is ready. Okay, they're cruising through these last rounds.
Corner infielder, Sam Fisher.
Sam Fisher going to Team Lorenz. Okay, Amanda has not budged. Another veteran pick here with her 12th one in this draft. I can't wait to talk to her about this. If you tune into broadcast and if you follow some of our coverage, I'll have some answers. Just stay tuned.
Well, she's going to have at least one rookie, if I'm counting right, because she has 3 pitchers, which means she's going to take Hope Troutwine. And again, she doesn't have to select her right now because being the last pitcher on the board, Amanda can wait till that last round to go ahead and select Hope. So she'll have one rookie as far as that goes.
A lot of people cheering for blue in these comments. I think everybody might be a little biased. If you're a year-to-year AU fan, these are people that you've been following now for maybe 5 seasons. Skylar's ready with her next pick.
Corner infielder, Andrea Filler.
Philly go into this purple squad. That's somebody who I think connects at any given time in the season. Skylar's ready for her next pick. We'll let her lock that in.
Outfielder, Caroline Jacobson.
And Caroline Jacobson joining the purple squad. They usually cruise through these last couple rounds. Like you said, Kat, they know what they need. So there's not a lot of debating going back and forth like we see there. Amanda's ready. Let us know, Amanda.
Catcher, Jordan Rudd.
Jordan Rudd playing in Blue. I think she is a great pick. We saw her call some really good games at AUX. You see her soaking in the experience. She's somebody that I've really enjoyed getting to know and watch throughout these couple weeks as she's joined AU for the first time this year, started at AUX, and now she's here at our champ season. We'll see if Taylor is ready to lock in her next pick. Agreed. A lot of people see calling out blue and a lot of people calling out gold too in the comments. Ooh, I love Team McQuillan. Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
you look at McQuillan, and I mean, she has Mackenzie Clark, and obviously she took Charlize Palacios, which was a very strong rookie pick.
Right.
But other than those two, I mean, she's got a very veteran squad as well. So you can see the two most veteran captains definitely relying on, again, history and what they know about these players over the course of their career in AU and not just the right now situation.
Middle infielder, Allie Skaggs.
There's Allie Skaggs coming off the board. I think a way we can maybe see that have an impact is if you have all the veterans on your team, most of the people that they're going to be facing, maybe as hitters as well as pitcher matchups, are going to be ones that haven't seen each other a lot. I'm interested to see how that plays out for us throughout this next week, as maybe we're going to see people seeing, some pitchers, some hitters for the very first time. Lexi Kilfoyle saw a lot of those batters for throwing 14 innings, 2 complete games. She's ready to lock in her last 2 picks of this draft.
Middle, Josie Muffley.
Josie Muffley, there she is. I know the Seminole fans are going to be wearing gold. They'll have a lot of it already from Florida State. Looks like Lexi's ready for her last pick. Go ahead, Lexi.
Catcher, Hannah Borden.
And a Borden comes off the board, and we're going to let these athletes cruise straight through these next 3 picks. Go ahead, Taylor. Amanda and Skylar will follow.
Outfielder, Morgan DeBoard.
Pitcher, Hope Trotwine.
Outfielder, Carly Spade.
And there you have it. Carly Spade going to Team Wallace, and these are your week 2 teams. We'll take a look at them as these captains kind of close the book on their notes. Kat, biggest thing that you're seeing from each of these 4 teams? I know we talked a lot about rookies and veterans kind of being stacked on different squads.
Well, it'll be interesting. So Team Kilfoyle has 3 rookie pitchers in herself, Gottschall, and Cagle. So Rachel Garcia, really the only veteran pitcher on that staff. And again, as you mentioned, there's the A next to her name. So what does that mean? Because you don't have a veteran pitcher to rely on a lot of information. You don't have multiple of those. And so it's going to be a lot of learning trial by fire for that pitching staff. Taylor McQuillan did a good job of balancing out, finding some strong defense and strong offensive players. And as I mentioned from the get-go, I think Amanda Lorenz was going 1 veterans, but 2 power hitters. You saw that herself, Bubba Nichols, Tori Vidalis right off the bat. She got one of the best hands up the middle in Hannah Flippen. Ended up getting Anissa Ortez too. Those two, obviously, the Utah combo that everyone loves to watch turn double plays. But I'm shocked that Ortez was still there in the 9th round. She's usually a higher pick as well. But she went with veteran and was able to put together what I think is going to be a very dynamic offense. And then Skylar Wallace, I feel like, went with youth. And maybe she thinks that youth is going to surprise some people and be able to put together some energy. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. If you made me pick, I think I'd have to go with Team Lorenz.
Ooh, okay. I think I might be going with Taylor McQuillan because of how she manages that group. For me, the brain power between her and Alyssa to be able to manage these teams, to me, you feel like you get 2 captains with those 2. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to the Week 2 draft. So here's when to tune in this week. This week 2 is going to kick off on Friday. A little bit of a different schedule this week because we have a camp day here in Rosemont. So game 1 on Friday is actually at 10:30 a.m. That's going to be Team McQuillan and Team Lorenz. That game won't be broadcasted. So if you want updates, tune in to AU Pro Softball on Twitter, on Instagram. I'll be there too, tweeting highlights and what's going on during the game. But of course, there will be fans there. And then game 2, 6:30 p.m., Team Kilfoyle versus Team Wallace. That's going to be on ESPN again, you fans. I loved seeing all your comments, what you thought about this draft. We'll see you next week and we'll be back. Kat, thanks so much for joining us. I feel like I got smarter in this last hour and know some things to look for this week of AU Pro Softball. Thanks so much for joining. I love doing this with you.
Love talking softball with you. Obviously, been a long time for us, but excited to see you again week 3 and really see how this unfolds and see what news and notes we have to bring for next week's draft.
Definitely. Fans, follow up with us on Twitter. Were our predictions right? Were we completely off? We will find out this weekend, and we'll follow up with you next week at the draft. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you then.